What's going on, guys? Today I want to talk to you about what I think is the best opportunity in real estate since 2008, 2009 market crash. This is something that nobody's really talking about. Everybody's talking about Airbnbs, everybody's talking about RV parks, self-storage, multifamily, or flipping houses, maybe even wholesaling houses. But I do not hear hardly anybody talking about this asset class, and it's what we're going all in on in 2026, and I'm going to tell you all about it today. So if you're new here, my name is Graham Story. I'm a commercial real estate investor. I'm a commercial real estate broker. I've been doing brokerage for about 8 years. I got a podcast where I talk all about how me and my business partner Jesse buy commercial real estate properties in the North Carolina area. And we teach beginners how to do it and people who are transitioning from residential real estate into commercial real estate how to do it. In the last 2 years, well, really like a year and a half. In the last year and a half, we've picked up 9 different buildings and we're now under contract on our 10th and our 11th. I do not say all that to brag. We've been extremely fortunate and extremely blessed. We're super thankful. We've been busting our butts and we've had a lot of momentum and we're excited to continue that momentum. So I'm literally standing in the middle of one of our warehouses. We just picked this one up. It's a 5-unit property, about 21,000 square feet. I actually made a video about this. I'll link it right here. And it's cool to be shooting this video inside of this property. But the asset class that I want to talk to you about that nobody's really talking about is light industrial, or more specifically, just industrial real estate. There's a lot of people, like I said, talking about houses. There's a lot of people talking about multifamily, RV parks, and self-storage. But there's not a lot of people out there going out there and actually buying industrial real estate. There are a handful of people. I know Tyler Cobble's mentioned it a couple times. I know Tyler, he's a good guy. Mike and Bo, those guys are awesome. They also are buying a lot of light industrial. But aside from those guys, there's not a lot of people talking about it.
Mike, why do you hate multifamily and love buildings like this one behind you?
You could buy this building and rehab everything that needs to be done for the cost of 2 3-bedroom houses here where we're at. And with this, it's going to cash flow probably 5 or 6 times more than those 2 houses would.
And in my opinion, it's one of the best asset classes you can be buying, period. And there's about a billion reasons I can tell you why it's a really good asset class to get into. I'll just pick 3 today and talk about them. So one of the first reasons that light industrial is a great asset class to get into, especially for beginners, is because of the low barrier to entry and low maintenance costs. When you buy an industrial building, you're literally buying concrete floors, metal or brick walls, maybe some insulation, you got some electrical work, some plumbing, and the HVAC unit. But other than that, it's very simple. It's literally just a wide open warehouse, just like this one. This one actually had a wrestling tenant in here. They were practicing wrestling and stuff like that, which is why the mats are here. But it's pretty much just a blank slate and there's almost no maintenance. Another thing in commercial real estate, especially if you're in like retail, there's what's called a tenant upfit allowance, where essentially a tenant will come to you and say, hey, I want to start a coffee shop. We need you to build us nice floors, nice lighting, a countertop. We need the plumbing run this way. And that typically is expected to be paid for by the landlord. In industrial, normally someone's going to come along, they're going to look at the space, they're going to say, okay, does it have the right ceiling height? Does it have a couple loading docks or a drive-in door? And if it does, and it checks all the boxes, then they say, all right, sign me up. And that's about it. It's super low maintenance, super low headache, and a lower barrier to entry. So that's point number 1. Point number 2 is the lease links. So with multifamily property, you get typically 1-year leases. And yeah, a lot of people argue that's a good thing because you can continually raise rents at a faster rate. However, you look at the last couple of months, maybe even last couple of years, it's been a little bit of a slow market. And I know in the area we're in, rents have kind of flat. In some cases, they've even gone down a little bit. Not in industrial real estate. There's not enough product out there. And typically you're going to be signing a 3 to 5 year lease term. So if you sign a 3 to 5 year lease term and it's triple net, which is another reason why it's so amazing, which means the tenant's going to pay for the taxes, the insurance, and the common area maintenance. So essentially you as the landlord have no responsibilities. All you're going to do is make sure you deliver a clean, safe space where you got, functioning electricity, functioning HVAC, and that the roof's not leaking and the structure's good. As long as you check those boxes when you buy the building, you typically turn the keys over and there's no maintenance, nothing you have to do for 3 to 5 years, and you're not going to hear from your tenant. They're going to pay the rent, they're going to operate their business, and they're going to go on their way. Versus something like residential, if the toilet clogs, if the shower clogs, if the HVAC stops, whatever happens, you're going to get a call and you're going to have to deal with it. And that could wipe out all of your cash flow. So if you have a 3 to 5 year lease, you're typically buying a fixed income stream for 3 to 5 years. That's another phenomenal reason why light industrial or industrial real estate is an amazing thing to get into. A third thing is a little bit of a different angle I haven't heard a lot of people talking about, but maybe you don't want to get into holding the real estate yet. Maybe you just want to make some money, you want to make some active income, you want to flip. This is something we're actively experimenting with right now. We just got our first property, or not first property under contract, it's like our 9th, but our first property under contract that we're planning on flipping. What we're planning on doing with that property more than likely is buying the building. It's actually got a tenant in there. We may have the tenant leave and we're going to make the building really nice. We're going to fix the roof. We're going to paint the outside. We're going to make sure the office is all good. And once we do that, we're going to then put it on the market and sell it to an end user. So this is a different angle I haven't heard a lot of people talking about, but you basically get a building that maybe you buy it from an investor, maybe you buy it from an older gentleman who's had it a long time, or an investor who bought it for their business and now they've switched gears, switched focuses, and you pick it up on an investment price, which typically if you're an investor, you're always gonna buy a building for cheaper than an owner user would. So the premise would be, we're gonna buy the building and we're gonna make it really nice for a company to come in who needs that kind of space, who only wants to buy, they don't wanna lease. So here's kind of an idea of what I'm talking about. If we're buying a building in the market we're looking in, we're buying industrial buildings for anywhere for $40 to $50 a foot, which sounds insane. And I feel like in a couple of years, we're gonna look back and think, wow, I can't believe we're buying buildings for 40 to 50 bucks a foot in North Carolina, which is crazy. But anyways, you can pick something up for 40 to 50 bucks a foot as an investor if you get a good deal. The market's more like $55 to $60 a foot. However, if you go turn around and you buy a property that's based on the income and maybe it's been under rented or modified gross rents or whatever, maybe you just get a good deal and you buy it for 40 bucks a foot. Well, you can turn around and sell it to an end user, and people who are actually gonna move in there and pay more money for it because they're operating their business out of it, they might pay 55, 60, maybe even 65 bucks a foot for that very same building. And the reason why is because they're not worried about real estate investment. That's not how they make their money. They're worried about their business and their operations. So maybe they have kick-ass HVAC company and they service a ton of residential rooftops right around that area. And so they know if they have a building in that area, they can make a ton of money by fixing, HVAC. And because of that, they're willing to pay, $1 million for a building, and they're able to float that mortgage and make a lot of money on top of it. That means they can pay more for a building than an investor can. So let's just run an example. If you buy a building that's 10,000 square feet, which we bought before, for let's say $40 a foot, that's $400,000. Well, let's say you buy that building and you fix it up. You put a little money into it. So let's say you paint it, you make sure the roof's good, and you fix up the office space a little bit. Let's say it takes you another 50 grand to do that, because that's realistic. So you're in it for $450,000. Now you turn around and you sell that building to an end user for somewhere like 70 bucks a foot, maybe let's just say 65 bucks a foot, because I think it's very realistic. 65 bucks a foot, that's $650,000. So you went from buying it for 400, putting in 50K, and then selling it to an end user for $650,000, and you made $200,000. So that's another reason why we love it. There's not a lot of people doing that, and there's not a lot of product out there. There's a lot of businesses out there who need industrial warehouse space for their business, and the stuff that's on the market, it's market pricing. And if you can get good at finding deals off market, below market rate, and then you turn around and sell it and provide that to an end user and an owner user, then you can make a killing. And now we have personally not done this yet. We're about to try it with our next 2 buildings. But I'm in the brokerage world. I've seen people do this time and time again. So that's the third reason why we love industrial real estate. I could go on and on forever about this. I could talk about this for an hour and a half. We actually have a podcast where pretty much that's all we talk about, how much we love commercial real estate, more specifically industrial. But if you have questions about industrial real estate, be sure to message me in the comments. Be sure to comment your questions below and I'll try to answer them, or I can make a video about them if you have a specific question. Hopefully this motivates you to get into the industrial space. I appreciate you guys watching. If you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button and I'll see you in the next one.